What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Alexander Usyk, Kuprat Pulev, the WBO, the IBF. We have a possible stripping, according to the interview that I saw from Eddie Hearn. Whoever the winner will emerge out of Ruiz or Joshua more than likely will be stripped. More than likely would be from the IBF, okay, or the WBO, because unfortunately both of these belts are up for mandatories, and if there's no mandatory date set, those sanctioning bodies can strip that fighter if they haven't met that obligation for defending that title. It doesn't matter if they've just won it back or Andy Ruiz just defended it. The problem is Andy Ruiz had to fight Anthony Joshua again in a rematch clause, where if normally, let's say, Joshua decided not to fight Ruiz, then he would have to fight the mandatory for the WBO because the WBO was first, okay? So that was, the WBO would be first, then second would be the IBF, okay? The IBF mandatory challenger is Kuprat Pulev. But, of course, Pulev got in some trouble himself, so, he was kind of in limbo if he could be or remain that particular mandatory challenger, which he still is, based on, what we've heard. So you have two belts that are up for mandatories, and he can't defend both at the same time because of the time frame. So one of these belts are up for grabs. They'll be stripped. So more than likely, the person that's the mandatory has to fight someone else for the belt or for the opportunity of getting that world championship belt. Okay. Now, what does this mean? First off, that means Usyk, if the WBO strips whoever the winner is, Usyk could fight for that. If Usyk wins, he becomes a heavyweight champion. Okay. So then the belts will change hands. It would split. Or should I say the belts will start to separate from people to person to person. Then Ruiz will be with the WBA and the WBO. The IBF. Then he would have to face Kuprat Pulev at some point. If he doesn't fight Pulev, well, he can fight Wilder or the winner out of Wilder and Fury. So it's complicated at this point. Given who wins from that, Ruiz would have to fight whoever that winner is. That's if the IBF doesn't strip, because they are very, very strict. So if they figure, okay, Ruiz is waiting too long because he's waiting out to see who wins out of Wilder and Fury, they could strip him from that belt too. Okay? So he has to make that mandatory the challenge. So he has to fight Pulev, so he can't wait around for the winner out of Wilder and Fury unless they fight right away. Okay, so it's up for grabs. It's really weird to see who will actually emerge as the guy that gets the challenge for the rest of the belts, because someone has to fight Joshua, the winner out of Joshua, Ruiz. Okay, somebody has to fight that winner. So whoever emerges will fight one of those guys. Now, what I could do, me counterpunching that, and I see two sanctioning bodies. You got two mandatories. They're up for grabs, and they know they're up for the same time, and they know the belts are locked up due to certain circumstances. If that was me, people, I would tell Pulev, fight Pulev for Pulev should fight Usyk. Why not? They're both mandatories for different sanctioning bodies, right? And whoever wins for that sanctioning body gets to be mandatory for both belts, the WBO and the IBF. Then we could get that out of the way. Why those guys trying to figure it out? Why the big guys, we got the four guys, they have to duke it out, right? So Fury has to fight Wilder. Contract signed. Ruiz has to fight Joshua, contract signed, right? So these instead of these guys waiting around to see who gets stripped, You know, let's make it easier. If these sanctioning bodies, the WBA and the WBC, has worked together before, so sanctioning, we have heard of sanctioning bodies working together, right? So if these guys, the WBO, the World Boxing Organization, and the IBF, you know, these guys can, if they can get together and agree upon these two guys fighting to see who's the mandatory, and then, you know, you could kill two birds with one stone, right? That, I think that would be the best possible solution. But hey, what do I know? You know, I just report the news, and those are just ideas that I thought of on the fly, because, you know, to see people change hands and belts, it gets confusing after that, because you got one guy that wasted a long time, you know, getting these belts. Then due to a rematch clause, now the belt's starting to strip. It's kind of how like Golovkin, it's looking like how Golovkin lost his belts. That's what it's really looking like. You know, Golovkin lost the IBF belt, boom, right? Then he lost the other two. You know what I mean? Actually, the other three. So, you know, we'll see what happens, but I would go with what I recommended. You guys tell me what you think about my plan. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.